Okay, hello there. Now it's me, Sanjay, and I just want to say that I love reading and I just wanted to share some ideas or concepts with you. I will be posting presentations like this. You know, I have just started, so let's get on with it. Now, today, what I want to talk to about is religionism and regionalism. I think these two concepts are holding us back. Okay, so let's see what these are. Now, religionism is the idea of belonging to one exclusive religion. That's how I define it. Now, does it have to be so? And why is it so? Let's look at it. Now, does it have to be so? Well, I mean, if you exist, you have been accepted by reality, or nature, or God, or whatever force that controls the universe, isn't it? And you don't need to be accepted by any other authority. If you exist, you have already been accepted. That's it. And why would you limit yourselves to one particular religion or any kind of ideology for that matter? You should be free. You give yourself the freedom to learn from whatever source that is available, isn't it? You should not limit yourself. And what I perceive is that the most defining feature of nature is intelligence, isn't it? I mean, everywhere I see there is just a lots and lots of intelligence. I mean, if you take a leaf, a flower, grass, everything you see, if you see it's working, how it works, I mean, just intelligence is just embedded in it. So you have to be intelligent too to discover its meaning, its purpose, or whatever. Okay. Now, any religion which asks you to follow it exclusively would ultimately limit you and your understanding of reality, isn't it? Because it would limit you to a book or a set of books, to one messiah or whatever. No. You should be free to learn. That's the thing. And eventually, these are just mental constructs, isn't it? Doesn't matter whether they are new or old. I mean, humanity has lived without the current religions for vast many years, and you don't know, but humanity will be living when these religions are gone. So, yeah, and yeah, we have to concede that the universe has no compulsion, no obligation to conform to the limitations of the human mind. Okay, yeah, you can say that I will follow this book or I will follow this person. You can say that, fine. But you can say that the universe has to follow it. Okay, and you have to learn the secrets of the universe and not impose your half-baked ideas you learned from others on the universe. Okay, that's just not done. That's it. Now, why is it so? Of course, because of historical reasons. The history about how the Christianity emerged, or Islam emerged, or Buddhism emerged, or the Sikh religion emerged, and others as well. For Hinduism, it's not so clear, but you have got the idea. Now, how religion started and how they spread, the history of religions. So, these are the reasons why, if you go into it, you will know why people follow one religion We do not need to discuss it rather deeply. And of course, the accents or directions of the priestly class, they are very much important regarding this. If the priestly class says that you have to follow this book only, others are just false. The gods of others are false. Then when these things are taught to you from childhood, then you begin to integrate these things into your personality, your mind, and yeah, you think so that the religion you are following is the greatest one, something kind of like that. Or maybe if you are told that yeah, all religions are equal and we should be respectful towards all these religions, then you'll have that kind of mindset. Now, why do we need to look at the concept of religionism? I mean, if we all cooperated with each other and it would have no problem, then there wouldn't have been any reason to look at it. But we need to look at it because it is causing problems among us, isn't it? Like the phenomenon of othering. I belong to this religion, you belong to that religion. So there is a psychological distance. Even if people are living next to each other, there's some kind of psychological distance. Even among friends, this psychological distance, you know, it is there. And finally, this psychological distance leads to enmity among people, and it also causes conflicts, wars, destruction, and all that. Okay, that's why we need to look at it. But what we really need is spirituality. What I would define as spirituality is it is the path which takes us towards peacefulness, understanding, wisdom, contentment. These are the things, real things, okay, that we should be looking forward to. And the spiritual methods that we need could belong to any religion. Maybe you are just born in a different religion, and the spiritual path that you should be following it is in other religion. Okay, like if you say Christianity and Islam, the basic spiritual path is that of prayer, isn't it? Christians, you go to church, you pray, isn't it? Islam also, you go to mosque or even at home. Basically, you pray, it is called as sajda. That's the thing, to get closer to God, isn't it? So, the basic mode is prayer. If you look at Hinduism, if Christianity and Islam, if you look at it from that viewpoint, then Hinduism is not just one religion, but a conglomeration of religions. Okay, because there are many teachers, many spiritual paths are there. So yeah, it also includes prayer, which is called as bhakti, and then it includes yoga, meditation, also called as dhyana. Then there is Gyan Yoga or Karma Yoga. Gyan Yoga is basically means you read the scriptures and you gain knowledge from whatever source you want, and knowledge ultimately leads to enlightenment. Karma Yoga, I mean, people who just like painters or dancers, these kind of people, artistic people, whose mindset is like that they just do things and these things lead them to a higher level of consciousness. Now if you see prayer is for those whose heart flows, whose heart is filled with contentment, isn't it? Only if your heart filled with contentment you can pray. Otherwise, you will just be asking for this or that in the name of prayer, isn't it? That's how some prayers start, isn't it? Thank you, God, for this, and give me this. That's how most of the people pray. It's isn't prayer. It's just demand actually. Okay. Uh, let's go on further. Buddhism, is it also includes prayer. Basically, it's meditation, but yeah, includes prayer as well. If you go to Buddhist centers, you will know that. Now, the search for spirituality. When does it start? Now, when one realizes that the world can only give you so much, and what can the world give? Physical comforts, transitory emotional fulfillment, isn't it? Can't give anything else, little else. Okay, and you see, emotional fulfillments are always transitory. Something happens and you're happy maybe for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, or a day, but eventually it just wears off, isn't it? And this happens again and again and again. Some physical comforts, you're happy, some emotional fulfillment, you become happy, and then you again fall down. You worry, start worrying, anxiety, this, that. I mean, the cycle just goes on and on and on. And when you realize that the world can just give you this much, and then start looking for the other, then the search for the other starts. This search is the call for spirituality. Now, every religion should allow people to follow the spiritual path or method best suited for them, isn't it? And then we can talk of religious. I mean, we cannot talk of religious freedom or if people are not free to choose their spiritual paths, can we? No. What I would like to say is that, if any scientific discovery is done anywhere in the world, it is thought to be the preserve of whole humanity. Similarly, any spiritual path discovered at any time, anywhere on earth, is the preserve of whole humanity. Okay, it's for you, isn't it? It's discovered in China or India or Japan or Jerusalem or wherever. It doesn't matter. It's for you. If it is, if it suits you, yeah, you should follow it. Why not? Okay. Now, what do we get from following one religion? I mean, of course, there are benefits. That's why people do it. If people didn't get any benefit from it, why would people do it? Okay, so some of these benefits I've listed out here: a sense of identity and belonging, rules of behavior or morality, rituals or practices like marriage. You got festivals to celebrate, great thing, festivals, and of course a support system outside of family. Okay, I mean, people belonging to one religion mostly do help each other. Sometimes may not, but usually. Okay. The people of a country also do that to each other. Okay. So what I want to say is that if religionism is left out, it doesn't mean that these benefits would not be there. These benefits would multiply it because everyone would respect each other. They would be friends. Now we come to regionalism. Okay, Now, what is regionalism? The idea of belonging to one particular country or region can be called as regionalism, isn't it? And does it have to be so? Well, of course not. We know now because there is European Union. You know, many countries just come together, form a bloc. So yeah, we can live together. Okay, why is it so? Well, you know the history of how the countries. First, there were tribal societies. Then there was the time of empires, kings, queens, and so on. And then finally, we have come to the age of nation or countries, isn't it? So, not really required, but that's how history has brought us here. Now, why do we need to look at the concept of regionalism? I think it is the same things as religionism, isn't it? Because it is causing problems among us. If things were hunky dory, no problem at all, then it would have been all right. But things are not like that. So, yeah. Now there is this phenomenon of othering as well, isn't it? I belong to this country, you belong to that country. So there is this phenomenon of othering. There is this psychological distance between us, which doesn't need to exist, but it is there. And then it leads to enmity, and then it leads to conflicts, wars, you name it. Okay. Now, what I am trying to say here about is that we're talking now about conscious evolution. With rise in human consciousness, the concepts of religionism and regionalism will eventually be discarded within the next 200, 300 years. I mean, that's how I think so, because people are getting closer, isn't it? YouTube videos, people watch YouTube videos from any part of the world. They are getting closer. The psychological distance between them is decreasing. The people will finally realize that they don't really need to, live in a that psychological state where they just do othering of people not belonging to their country or to their religion. And there is no reason why we can discard this concept sooner, or at least weaken their hold on us, on our actions, on our emotions, isn't it? Humanity doesn't have to wait for their benefits to fructify. I mean, 200, 300 years, people will get it. But if we get it sooner, better. Now, we live in a time warp. That's the thing. Psychologically, we live in a very small period of time. 40, 50 years back, a few decades in the future, that's all we carry in our heads. We are not able to see too farther back or further in the future. If we are able to do that, uh, we could discard these unwanted concepts from our minds. Now, what I mean is that the time of kings and queens and warriors, it has gone, isn't it? And they were very committed towards what they thought that it was the ultimate thing to do, their ultimate duty, and they did it. I mean, not that they shouldn't have done it, but now does it matter now? No. Similarly, our following of our country or our religion, we think it is the ultimate thing now, but a few centuries down the line, people will think that we are foolish, that we should have realized earlier that, you know, religionism or regionalism, these are just temporary things. The countries may not exist in future as such, nor will the structure of religion remain the same as such in the future, isn't it? Now, in the final scheme of things, our commitment towards them may not mean much. That's what I want to say. And yeah, finally, I would like to say this thing about time. Now, is it time that passes or we are the ones who pass? We should think about it. And what is time? It's just the earth going around the sun, isn't it? The earth goes around the sun, that's all. It has been doing it for millions of years. Okay, now we have a train going through, and I hope it doesn't disturb too much. Okay, yeah, earth will go around the sun for millions of years, isn't it? It's we who are going to pass. Yeah. Okay, let's move further. Now, what may exist in the future? I mean, just like the European Union, there can be an African Union, a Latin American Union, a South Asian Union. And this may arise, and people will mingle freely. Yeah, you know, maybe a passport thing would be like an ATM card. You know, one side serving as ATM, another side is identity proof or passport, and you will have just one card, and you can go anywhere, and any card will just work anywhere. That's the kind of technology we now have and can be done now. Now, if we work towards it with intention, it may come sooner, or we can meander as we want, as much as we want, isn't it? Like it happened in the case of European Union. Britain got out of it. Some countries going out of it, some countries going in. So in this path, we may go one step ahead, one step back, one step right, one step left. We can meander as much as we want, but humanity will certainly realize in the future that you know religionism and regionalism is not the thing for good for us. Now, if we are able to do away with religionism and regionalism, even to some extent, okay, even to a little, it will free vast resources to serve humanity, okay, isn't it? I mean, there is a huge, colossal waste of resources due to these two concepts. Yeah, it's really, really huge. I mean, even if you just look at one thing, you know, the defense forces or armaments, even if 20% of the resources, devoted to these things are released, I mean, we'll have enough resources, to uplift the poverty and by a significant amount. I mean, it's in billions and billions of dollars. Not a joke. Now, why we need to look at it? Because we are all on the same boat. Just, uh, you know, one earth going around the sun, same boat that we live on. And we do not need to fight with each other. And finally, we'll have to concede that religionism and regionalism are just mental constructs, okay? They don't have to be so. There is nothing that has to be so, okay? They can be altered any time we want to serve our purposes, these ideas, okay? They are not a part of our existential reality as such. Okay? They don't have to be so. I will talk about existential reality later. Now, what purpose do we achieve fighting amongst ourselves? Yeah, little. The concepts of superiority or inferiority based on regionalism or religionism do not do any good to us. You know, They just cause mental barriers among us, create distance among us, and they cause animosity. That's what they do. Now, if you look at humanity, we all have the same kind of desires, the same emotions, and we all want the same things, isn't it? Safety, security, to be loved, to love someone, and of course, the three things, excuse me, you know, bread, place to live, clothes, and of course, now you can add health, education, internet, electricity, whatever. So the thing is that we all want the same things, and we could get these things by cooperation much faster than we can get them by conflict, isn't it? Oh my God. Another train passing. Okay, I will let it go. Okay, sorry for the disturbance. I think you can hear me now. Okay, so what I think is that there is more than enough resources on the earth to fulfill our needs. Okay, not our greed, but our needs, of course. The phenomenon of scarcity is a myth, you know. Sorry. No, it is a problem of distribution rather than of scarcity. That's the thing. The amount of food and other resources we generate in a year is phenomenal. I mean, it is really phenomenal. I mean, 7 billion people on earth, and we are able to feed all of them. I mean, just great. But yeah, if we could distribute the resources, it would be much better. Things would be much, much better. Now, what we need is we need to open our hearts to each other, isn't it? We need to become friends. And when you are with friends, you don't need to worry, isn't it? You take care of each other. You don't need to worry. And friends generate resources where there are none. Right? Everybody has seen, the seat sharing of, on a bus. When there are no seats available, people are standing, a friend comes along, and you just adjust, isn't it? Where there was seat for one, now there is seat for two. You generate resources with friends. And when you are with friends, that feeling of familiarity, of security, of confidence can be available to us wherever we are. You know, only if we learn to be friends. Now, does this sound like utopia? It does sound like that, isn't it? But guess what? We are living in one, isn't it? Now we have pipe drinking water, we fly over large distances, aeroplanes, things, just a few decades back wouldn't have been possible. And of course, we have gadgets now. We can talk to each other whenever we want, order things which will be delivered to our home, ask questions and get answers instantly. Maybe not to the questions we really want an answer to, but yeah, at least lots of trivia. Okay, so we are living in a utopia and compared to a few decades earlier. The utopia will be brought about by people aligned with the thought, taking small steps of cooperation, isn't it? If the hold of regionalism, weakens on us, we'll cooperate. And that's how things will start. First, a few people will start doing that, then the larger group will be doing that, then those kinds of leaders will be elected, you know, who are aligned with this kind of thought that we should cooperate, we should not differentiate among us on the basis of region or country or religion. Those kinds of leaders will be elected, and then it will make the process easier. Now, just like the earth will be saved from ecological destruction by millions of people doing millions of little things every day, and not just by big governments taking big decisions, isn't it? That's how I think earth will be saved from ecological destruction. Okay. Now I would like to talk about the realities in which we live. Now, first there is existential reality, I will talk about later. And then there is administrative reality, the country or town you live in, it has certain rules, laws to drive on left or right side of the road, depending on the country, isn't it? And then there is religious unity, you follow some religious practices, this, that, festivals, and all. And then there is social reality, that is, social norms are there. How do you interact with people? You know, people belonging to different social status, all these things. There is economic reality, which economic class you belong, rich, poor, somewhere in the middle, whatever. So these are the different kind of realities we have. Now I would like to focus on existentiality, which is the main thing. Now, existentiality, what it means is that, sorry, we live on a round planet in the solar system called Earth. That is our existential reality. We get born anywhere on Earth without any choice. We don't have choice, and no one asks us. We get our religion, country, race, color, gender from our birth or parents. That's why we don't need to differentiate among us on these bases, isn't it? Now, and the spiritual path, which shows us may or may not have any relation to the religion or region in which we are born. Yeah, an introvert, an extrovert will have different spiritual paths to follow. They can't do the same thing, you know. And then there is our superficiality, our lack of integrity. I mean, I don't think it is a part of our existential reality. We learn it through our society, but I would like to dwell on it a little bit more. Now, our superficiality deprives us from so much. What I mean by superficiality is our lack of integrity in people, isn't it? Like someone promising something and then forgetting it. We are not people of integrity. We decide something at the night, we'll get up at 5 a.m. and do this. You set up an alarm, and when it rings at 5, okay, I will sleep, I think, today. Tomorrow I will do that. Postponing things, we are not really integrated. And yeah, People lying to others for small benefits is understandable. Yeah, it's okay, kind of okay. But people lying to themselves stops them from their spiritual growth. Yeah, that's a big problem. You know, people just would not agree to the fact that their religion has not helped them in their spiritual growth in any way. Yeah, that would be very, very difficult for people. They would always say, yeah, I have benefited so much, this grace and that. But if you look at them, there's no contentment in their heart, isn't it? That means they are not on the right spiritual path. They are full of complaints. This has to be this way, that thing has to be that way, isn't it? Sorry. So, what I was saying is that people should, look towards integrity when they are talking about their spiritual path or spiritual growth. But the social standing would be too dear to them, and the existential reality is sacrificed at the altar of convenience. Unfortunately, that's the truth. Okay. Okay, now that's all for now. And sorry if any of this hurts you. Okay. But I think that if humanity has to grow up consciously, then these concepts of religionism and regionalism need to be discarded, or at least their hold on us, isn't it? And yeah, I'm sorry, really sorry if it hurts you. I mean, I don't even know you, so why would I want to hurt you? But thank you for listening. And yeah, do like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for now.